Oh, favourite? I don't have a favourite UK city to play in actually. They've all got their own different, attractions and personalities. I don't know what to say about that. It's the gig that I love doing. It feels like such a privilege to be at this stage in our careers and to be with such a great band and to be able to get up there on stage like we did when we were 18 years old and have the same buzz and the same feeling and the same satisfaction from playing with, a number of great musicians. That feels like exactly the same level of performance as when we first started, and that was unlooked for. So it's not place specific for me. I mean, I do love playing in London, but I love playing everywhere. There's Newcastle is great by Gateshead.
The
Sage, yeah, that's
a lovely theatre there called the Sage at Gateshead. Yeah.
So many different gigs though. I love playing sometimes small intimate clubs like this. At the same time, we've played places like Symphony Hall in Birmingham, which is a totally different experience, but equally enjoyable in a different way. You just take things from each place. We've only just finished playing a great gig in Liverpool as well. On the ferry, I couldn't believe it. When we walked in onto the ferry, I thought, oh my God, I thought this was going to be a disaster. But in fact, it turned out to be a really special evening. So it's not always what you expect.
Well, I think Rod is quite keen on fitness.
I just love the whole exercise thing personally.
Right.
I don't always do it as much as I mean to or want to, but we always try and stay in hotels that have gyms. So if the schedule allows, there are 2 or 3 of us that will whiz down to the gym and try and do a bit of exercise. But it's just something I enjoy. It makes me feel different about life generally.
I used to keep fit a lot until about 10 years ago, and I'm actually seeing a doctor in 2 days' time. I've got a cartilage problem in my right knee, so I can't run at the moment. But I do keep fit in another way. When we tour, I practice my singing. I've got singing exercises that I do religiously. If we're on tour, I do them twice a day. Once before sound check and once before the show. So I'm keeping my voice in shape, if not the rest.
You just have to add to this that Cole used to have a really sporting regime, and through enjoyment and everything he used to do. He was one of the fastest 100-yard, as it was then, not 100 metres now, young runners in the country when he was in his teenage years. He was a great rugby player, played rugby for many years. I think you always enjoyed cross-country running as well, didn't you?
I did. I enjoyed all sports.
You ran for years and years until you had this problem. Yeah.
But so it's been a bit frustrating, but hopefully I can get it sorted out. But it is good. It's a good point because, especially as you get older, it's good to try and keep a bit fit. I mean, you have to be sensitive about these things, but it is good to keep fit. But once the Zombies started playing professionally, I tried to keep the rugby up. But I don't know if you can imagine this, playing a full game of rugby on a Saturday afternoon, then getting in a car, driving to the gig, playing a gig, and then driving yourself home. I did it a few times and I thought, I'm going to kill myself doing this.
Actually, Colin told me a story the other day about him and a guy who used to be a great mate, particularly of Colin's, but he was a mate of both of us called Bob Collins. And they played rugby together. And they decided one day on an important rugby match that they'd be really fearsome if they had a few brandies before they went out.
We'd be fearless. We had a couple of large brandies. Yeah.
It didn't quite work, did it?
I don't recommend it at all. After about 10 minutes, I just wanted to be sick. It was terrible. Well, it's funny. I honestly think we both remember this in different ways a bit, but I've been playing for a couple of years. I started playing live again in 1997. Don Airey, who now plays with Deep Purple, just kept suggesting to me that you should get up and play live. I thought those days had gone. We're talking about 15 years ago, and eventually I said, okay, perhaps we should give it a try. He put a band together for me, and we went out and played, and I really enjoyed it. And I kept going for a couple of years, And then a situation came up where there was an opportunity for us to play together again. And originally Rod really only wanted to play in 6 shows, I think, to start with.
Well, the thing was that I did a charity show and Colin was in the audience. I did it for John Dankworth, who was a very close friend actually, before he passed away. And then Colin was in the audience, sang Time in the Season, She's Not There With Me, and then soon afterwards said, you know, why don't we just do a few gigs together? And I thought, well, it might be fun. But my memory was coming off the road with Argent in 1975, I think it was. And it was such a big deal in those days. You know, you had legions of people to put up massive PA systems. You know, for a start, none of the gear worked. You had a guy who'd have to maintain your keyboards every night and, you know, repair the Mellotron and the Hammond organ and everything. I thought, I can't go through that again. But the guy who was our bass player, Jim Rodford, who was with the Kinks for many years, original bass player with Argent with me, I said, it's not like that anymore. He said, you know, technically things are just so much easier. And I thought, well, all right, I'll give it a go. I had a ball, I had an absolute ball. And those 6 gigs have turned into 14 years of travelling around the world.
Well, over the years I've painted a bit, but I have to say it's some time ago. I've always loved painting, and it's something I'd love to reactivate. But I think that's it, really, just the painting. Anything?
I mean, there's nothing else that I do. I mean, the thing is, I've got an interest in all the arts. Actually, always have had. You know, I like the theatre. I like fine art. You know, and as much as I can afford, I built up a little bit of a collection of a few 19th century pictures. But you know, it's nothing that I'm doing. But I've got an interest in all areas of art. But no, music's the only, you know, that seems to take quite enough effort actually.